Josiah, and Benny. Every character you meet in the game has like a
Do I have
60%
one?
chance of having a name that's in the Bible. Now, of course, that makes sense. This is because America was a much more prominently Christian country. Back in 1899, when Red Dead Redemption 2 took place, roughly 9% of Americans identified as Christian. So obviously it makes sense that characters quote the Bible countless times throughout the game, and why so many characters have biblical names. But it doesn't stop there. It goes even deeper. The biblical comparisons even show up in critical story moments, and I'll even explain why the writers chose to include so many similarities between Red Dead Redemption 2 and the Bible. But we'll get to that later, along with how Arthur Morgan is chock full of biblical comparisons. Many of the characters with biblical names also have strikingly similar personalities to their biblical counterparts. For example, in the Bible, the prophet Hosea.
You want this? So obviously,
Isaiah
I'm
warned
already up
Israel
to.
about their unfaithfulness to God, their moral decay, and the judgment that was coming. He essentially served as the voice of reason. And that's exactly what Hosea's role in Red Dead Redemption 2 is. He is the voice of reason, constantly trying to stop the gang from getting too far ahead of themselves. To the point that once Hosea Matthews dies, there's no one left to keep Dutch level-headed. Starts the downfall of the Vandalin gang. Then you have everyone's favorite gang member, Micah Bell. In the Bible, if you read Micah chapter 7, verses 5 to 6, it says, "Trust not, but no confidence in the heart. Guard the doors of your heart from filthy lying. For a son dishonors his father, a daughter rises against her mother, and a daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law. A man's enemies are the members of his own household." Essentially, in that specific song, it's saying not to trust anyone, not even close friends or loved ones. In a time of moral decay, where corruption had eroded all basic trust. If you ask me, I'd say that's a direct resemblance to Micah Bell's role in Red Dead Redemption 2. He's the one person you can't trust, and he ultimately betrays the gang. And by the end of the game, Arthur Morgan can't even trust Dutch or the gang members who sided with him and Micah. Now, majority of the gang were not close with Micah at all. They actually all kinda hated him. But aside from Micah, the rest of the Vandalin gang was practically one big family, especially Arthur, John, Dutch, and Hosea. But now, let's talk about the one, the only Arthur Morgan. Arthur Morgan alone has more than enough biblical symbolism to suggest that Red Dead Redemption 2 clearly took inspiration from the Bible. For instance, Arthur Morgan's story begins and ends in a very similar way to the story of Moses in the Bible. We first see Arthur on Mount Hagen, while Moses first encounters God on Mount Horeb. Moses later dies on Mount Nebo, and as we all know, Arthur dies on a cliffside before later being buried on a mountain. The bottom line is that both Moses and Arthur Morgan's story essentially begins and ends on a mountain. But
at Amica, they know they'll always find ways to live out the night. With Amica Life Insurance, we'll help build a plan to make sure you home. Today.
Still staying up late gaming solo? With Hacko AI, get the ultimate companion for your playtime.
I noticed that the enemy jungle rabbit.
Confidence up!
Wow, that overgrown tunnel looks spooky.
What the?
But for Arthur Morgan, it doesn't stop there. Many people have also pointed out that his story bears striking similarities to the story of Jesus Christ. Some people would even go as far as calling Arthur Morgan a Jesus-like figure. As most of us know, Jesus died on the cross to save humanity from its sins. And in the good ending of RDR2, Arthur sacrifices himself to save the people he loves, John, Abigail, and Jen. Of course, Arthur knows he's going to die from tuberculosis, but his decision to stay behind and sacrifice himself comes purely from wanting to make sure they escape. It's not like he's thinking, I'm gonna die, but before I do, I need to kill that slimy rat Micah. By that point, there's no vengeance left in his heart. But Arthur's similarities to Jesus doesn't stop there. Before his death, Jesus traveled from town to town, performing miracles and helping those who are weak, poor, and needy. If we look at Arthur Morgan, especially in chapter 1, we see something very similar. He repeatedly finds people at some of their lowest points in their lives and chooses to help them. For some of these people, Arthur is the miracle. Take that family in Antwerp, for example. The family consists of a father named Arthur, his wife, and their son. Arthur dies in the mine while trying to earn enough money to repay the Vandalin gang. That's where Arthur Morgan comes in. He arrives to collect the debt, but instead ends up forgiving what they owe. If you choose the high honor option, he even gives them money to help them get back on their feet. Think about this from the mom's perspective. Your husband has just died, you're left to raise your son on your own, and you're on the verge of losing your home. Then, out of nowhere, a random outlaw shows up, tells you you don't owe the money anymore, and even gives you cash to help you start over. Now, yes, the Vandalin gang is ultimately the reason that family was put in such a horrible position, but that wasn't Arthur Morgan's doing. In fact, at the end of the debt collection mission, Arthur throws Strauss out of camp because he's finally seen firsthand the suffering Strauss has caused all of these families. Now, like I mentioned at the start of this video, there are also a lot of mission titles that come directly from the Bible. These comparisons aren't nearly as important, so I'll just rapid fire through them. In chapter 1, there's a mission called Aftermath of Genesis. This is an obvious nod to the first book of the Bible, Genesis.
Hello, it's down there.
What?
Hi.
Hello.
You're from the latest button.
Right.
Oh,
Yes, the newest one.
the newest one? How did you manage to get that?
But I got my paycheck.
You bought it your paycheck money? Okay.
I'm trying to remember how the fuck I did this shit.
Alright. That sounded crazy. That you spent $70 on a Lego game.
Shut your mouth. I also spent $25 on the deluxe edition.
So, like $90? What?
Yeah, I
You're
guess.
crazy. You are crazy. $95?
I love Batman. Shut up.
The Batman. And Hammer, you thought I was crazy for buying Assassin's Creed.
Depends on what Assassin's Creed was.
The Black Flag. The
Black
newest
Flag, what do
one.
you think?
Okay. I kind of understand with this, but at the same time,
It's awesome.
no.
It's awesome. Hammer changed his mind.
It is kind of.
Hammer changed their mind. He's like, wow, this game's awesome.
Also, this is worth the $90, Chris, because this is literally just Batman Arkham, but in Lego. And there's also a shit ton of movie references. And on top of that, you get to experience shit from the movies.
Yeah, but it's Lego.
Like this. Yeah. Like this thing that's about to come out, it's gonna reference The Dark Knight whenever Bruce first dons the Batman suit, and he's like at that like shipping dock, and he's confronting Falcone.
There's this one person that thought it. There's like a whole bunch of people, I think, we know that got that thing. There's this one girl we know. I don't really know her that well, but she randomly pooped in her life this one day, and then she hasn't been back since. But she was playing it. I think her name was Star.
This game, now there's a reason this game is so damn good, because I think this is the first. No, this ain't the first. Well, this is the biggest open world Lego game that we have. Because you get all 3 islands of Gotham, and you get to fucking drive around in the Batmobile with it. So this is like the biggest Lego game that's open world.
The biggest one. If we will.
And I get to customize everything. It's a shitload. I put my settings on low. This shit should not lag that much, hopefully.
Dang, it's taking a long time to load.
Well, I mean, the game is heavily detailed, so I expect all of these areas to take a while. If it's over like an hour type of while, that's when it becomes a problem.
Yeah, that's taking a long time. Z's one game?
And also the deluxe edition is the deluxe edition is worth it because you get 3 packs: the Batman Beyond pack, the Party pack, and then the Arkham pack. And then on top of that, when the future DLC comes out on September 18th, I get automatic access to it. I don't have to pay like 25 to 30 extra bucks.
But isn't that why you did pay?
For the deluxe edition, yeah, but I'm saying I don't have to pay another like 25 to 30 bucks if I want the DLC that's going to be coming in the future.
But you,
I'll already have it. So the 25 bucks is worth it. Because in this DLC, you're going to get a mayhem mode, which is where you cause havoc on Gotham as one of the iconic villains like the Joker, Harley Quinn. And then you get a new part of the story mode where you're escaping Arkham as like the Joker, Harley Quinn, Scarecrow. Actually, I think it's just the Joker and Harley. But still, you unlock a new extra part of the story mode. And then on top of that, you unlock a whole new mode entirely where you're just causing havoc.
Wait, Z, you just started using the PS5 version of Fortnite a year ago?
What?
You just started using the PS5 version of Fortnite a year ago?
I don't know.
That's what it says. I mean, I never really look at your games. It says you barely have any games.
Oh no, I have a ton.
Yeah, on your... But that's all.
I have a ton of games.
It says you have, like, not that much. For some reason it's Sting. I knew before it used to have a whole bunch of games, but right now it's like cutting like 90% of your games are taken away.
Well done.
Well, what happened was
I'm Batman.
I'm Batman.
Did you have a particular problem with this guy? Or was it your... Man, I'm right. I should be cognizant. This is a start. You're a good cop, swimming against